When it comes to taking your future to the next level, it's on at J-Tech. We're driving futures forward with career training in automotive technology, diesel technology, and commercial truck driving.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Scott Ruskey. I'm an instructor here at J-Tech in South Jacksonville, Florida. I'm here to talk to you today about some common sensors and ways to test them. A lot of people today get intimidated by the electronics on vehicles. Most of these can be tested very easily using a simple Volt Ohm meter that's available cheaply. This one came from Napa. It's a very good one. But simply using this, you can test a lot of the equipment on today's cars and be able to tell if they're good or bad without going through a lot of excessive computerized equipment. Some of the common sensors that can be tested today using a multimeter are something like a throttle position sensor over here. Throttle position sensor senses when the throttle is worked, tells what position it's in. That can cause dead spots in acceleration. A coolant temperature sensor is right here. That goes into coolant path, and that can cause different fuel conditions, running rich, running lean, because the computer sees the engine as being at a different temperature than what it is. Another one that we can show you on an engine is a crankshaft position sensor. I'll show you that in a moment. This is another modern engine and uses a crankshaft position sensor down here, as does the one in the car, but that's a little tougher to see. The sensor down here tells the position of the crankshaft so the computer knows when to fire. We have one on the table over here to test to show you how that works as well. I'll show you how to test some of these sensors just using the multimeter that I showed you earlier. We turn it to the ohm position. Ohms tells ohms resistance. It's resistance to electrical flow. I'll backlight it so hopefully it's easier for everyone to see. And some of the sensors that we have are laid out here. This is a crankshaft position sensor, coolant temperature sensor. I have a throttle body with the throttle position sensor. And I have the, just a switch off the transmission to show you that you can also test other things. I'll start out with the crankshaft position sensor. Pretty simple. I've hooked up my leads to it and it shows me resistance through the sensor. Then when I pass something metal, such as this other switch in front of it, you'll see a change in the resistance going through it on the meter. This change shows that it's registering metal passing in front of it. So we can tell that that sensor is good. Next, we'll take the leads off of there and hook up to the coolant temperature sensor. And again, we get a reading, we let it stabilize. 2146. By simply cupping that in my hand, I can see that the heat of my hand causes the resistance to change, and we can tell that that sensor changes evenly using simple heat. So that sensor is working okay. The throttle position sensor here, we'll hook up to that. Right there. Nope. Right there. Now on the throttle position sensor, we're working the throttle and looking for a smooth change in the numbers. If it shows a spike in one area, then you have a bad spot in the sensor that will cause a flat spot under acceleration. So we should be able to see, oops, a smooth operation as the sensor goes up and back down. The little flash you see is when it comes to the end of the range and it re-ranges, but it still is operating smoothly. So If there were a bad spot, you would see a spike where the resistance suddenly goes up quite high. The one last thing I want to show you is a simple switch. This happens to be a transmission switch, but pretty much any kind of a switch in a vehicle can also be tested using the multimeter. If I can hook up to it. Now the switch shows right now OL, which is overload, means that it's open, there's no resistance between it. By depressing the switch, you see contact made and resistance, low resistance numbers shown. So an easy way to test the switch as well. The multimeter can be used for a lot of diagnosing on today's machines without having to go to large expenses. That is the mechanic's best friend when it comes to testing electronics today. So I'm Scott Ruskey. I'm an instructor here at JTech in Jacksonville, Florida. Thanks for watching, and come back and watch our YouTube channel for more instructional videos for help on how to do things. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.
At JTech, we're gearheads at heart. We live it, we breathe it, and we have fun doing it. Don't be surprised if you spot JTech at a racetrack or local sporting event, or hosting car shows right on campus.